Hi peeps. I hope everyone is safe and healthy. I just wanted to go over our learning for this week. This is most likely a typical format of how we're going to be learning today, where I'll post a screencast of a presentation for you like I normally do at the beginning of each class, and then I'll go over what each of the learning activities would be. But I just wanted to kind of go through right now, just a general overview of what this week's going to look like. It'll be a little bit different as we get into the county supplied lessons, and I haven't seen those yet, so I don't know what to expect. But for this week, you are going to be to explain why organisms that have an advantageous heritable trait tend to increase within a population, while organisms that do not have this trait do not. We're going to go over what we should have covered already with the lessons that I've posted the last 2 weeks. We're going to go over just how this week is going to look, again, subject to change depending on what the lessons from the county look like. And then just some general information as far as I know as of today, which is Sunday. So far, week one, I assigned you workbook pages 16.1 through 16.4. I gave you an outline template from the textbook for 16.1 and created something slightly different just to ask you to delve a little bit deeper into the textbook information, the lesson assessment, there were questions, and then you created your own outline for 16.2. So that was week one. Week two, I assigned the workbook pages 19.1 and 19.2, and then we wrapped up chapter 16. I created a template for you for 16.4, and then the same type of lesson assessment where you had questions and created your own outline for 16.3. Again, none of this is being turned in, none of it is being graded, but the content is something that you are required to know for MESA, whether or not you're taking it this year, or most likely get a waiver for testing for MESA for my 10th graders. But this is content that they're not going to adjust on MESA for you to know, so you still have to stay current on the content even if you're not being graded on it. So again, nothing is being graded this week. We are going to be practicing turning things in through your Google Classroom though. I posted out in, I call it study resources, how to turn things in. If you're my veteran Potter people, we did a lot of this with our science research topic. But there's a refresher video for how to do this, to turn stuff in out there for you. We have 3 modules. We have a learning module that has 3 activities, a practice module that has 2 activities, and an assessment module with 1 activity. If this is the general format, I'm going to try to space it out a little bit for you so you're not completely overwhelmed, but all the modules will be out today, and then each module will also have just some more specific information for what each of these activities are, but I'm just going to go over generally what's included in each of the modules. Again, this format is subject to change depending on what I get from the county for you all. So your learning module this week, you will have a TED Ed lesson that has questions, and I'm sure you all have heard of TED Talks. So it's just a video, it's an Amoeba Sisters video on natural selection, and then there are some guided questions that you go through and some extra resources for natural selection for you. That's your first activity in the learning module. Then you have a gizmo, evolution, mutation, and selection. What I will put out in the learning module for each class is a screenshot of your username and password, because I know that those were kept in your journals, which are at school. So the recommendation is that that screenshot will be out there for everyone to see. So you need to make sure that you're changing your password and then you're writing it down in a safe place. I don't know why someone would go in to do the gizmo for you or whatever, but anyway, just so you know, that's what's going to happen, and that is my recommendation. And then there is a textbook lesson assessment, right? It's the same that I've posted the last couple weeks, where you have an outline to do, you have questions to answer. That will be posted in a Google Doc so that we can practice turning things in, and then please have that turned in by this Friday. Again, we are practicing turning things in. Nothing is going to be graded or put into the grade book. Your next module is your practice module. So you're kind of taking what you learned from the learning module and then applying it to practice what you know. The Amoeba Sisters worksheet, that's kind of that collective, kind of consolidating all the information and applying that information. The TED Ed video is out there for you, or you can just search YouTube for Amoeba Sisters Natural Selection, totally your call on how you want to handle that. And then there's a PhET simulation and worksheet. It's on natural selection. And again, in the practice module itself, I will go over what that looks like, how you get there, all of that good stuff. So that's your practice module. And then finally, you have an assessment module. Again, it is not graded. We are practicing working on things in Google Classroom, maybe things that you haven't done before, like Google Drawing, creating a slides presentation. You have some options there, which I'll go over in a hot second. But your assessment is going to be responding to a prompt. I can explain why organisms that have an advantageous heritable trait tend to increase within a population, while organisms that do not have this trait do not. That's so familiar. That is your objective. That is what you should have been taking away from each piece of your learning and practice modules. You're going to have a choice of product. You can do Google Slides. You need to have at least 6 of them. You can go into Google Drawing. You can create a comic in Google Drawing if you wish. 6 content panels. That means that the title and the end, it doesn't count. You need to have 6 content. So if you do a title and an end, your total product would be 8 comic panels. Or you can go to Google Drawing to create a poster. And if your poster, if that's what you choose to do, kind of like an electronic one-pager almost, we need to have at least half the poster as images. It isn't just all text. Otherwise, I would just ask you to write a paper, and that's boring. So again, not graded. We're just practicing turning this in through Google Classroom, and because it is an assessment, you're going to have a little bit longer to work on this. So even though it is posted today, I would like to have that turned in by Friday, April 10th, just to make sure we can actually achieve this goal and turning things in. So just some general information for you. As I know it of today, this may change as I get more information. The county, the academics team, I don't know who is on the academics team, but they made lessons for biology that I'm expected to present to you and facilitate that learning. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know the content. I don't know anything that hasn't been put out there for public consumption. So I'm just going forward with what I plan for you all for e-learning. As soon as I find out more information about what the content would be, what the format is, all of that good stuff, I'll post it on Google Classroom. So just make sure you're staying tuned in, even though you'll have all of the information for the week posted on Monday sometime. We need to make sure that we're checking in continuously because I'll be posting messages out there for you. Just so you know, March 30th starts kind of our teacher ramp up for e-learning. We have some training to do. We're practicing with Google Meet. With our other staff members. We are getting set up on our end, probably when I'll get to the lessons that I'm supposed to be facilitating. April 6th is going to start the 4th marking period. So the lessons that will be posted will most likely be the general format of what we're going to be doing for e-learning moving forward. But that first week, April 6th of the 4th marking period, you're expected to do it, but it's not necessarily going to be graded. And then April 13th, that is when we should have our final format kind of down pat, and then you are expected to turn in at least 1 assignment per week to be graded. All right, so that said, 1 assessment per week starting April 13th. It will be submitted through Google Classroom, whatever that may be. Again, I don't know. But you need to be very aware that there are no redos. You have 1 chance to get it right? So there's no just doing, just trying to figure it out, slapping it together, turning it in, and then figuring you'll do it better later. You have 1 shot to get it right. There are no redos. So you need to make sure that you keep that in mind when you're getting these assessments and turning them in. So I will be done your grades for 3rd marking period by April 3rd. That's on Friday. I will be doing exemptions for any NHI work that you have, so you don't have to worry about scrambling to get stuff turned in. It won't hurt you. It won't count against you in any way. I'm just straight up exempting. Normally what I would do, my veterans know that I would have given you a Hail Mary week, which is an opportunity for you to get that stuff that you just didn't turn in, turned in. So I'm just exempting everyone from NHI work. That includes assessments, homeworks, all that good stuff. And then if there is a grade in there that you've already done, it will be turned into a min. That is a 50%. So if, for example, that part B of the first quiz that we took, you didn't do the redo or the redo wasn't that awesome, everything that is below 50% will be made a 50%. And I'm going to start grading and entering in grades again for marking period 4 during the week of April 13th. So that'll be your first grade. So that is that. And then finally, once we figure out what the scheduling is going to be like, I will put that out in Google Classroom for you. Generally, I will have time that is allotted for my active planning and grading. So if you email me or whatever during that time, I won't be responding to emails at that time because most of the day I'll be online to respond to your questions. We have things called office hours, and then there's a time when you should be actively working on your science work. It's no hard, fast rule to that. It's just when I am available to be responsive to you the most. And then you should know that all teachers also have a block of time 11 to 1 as their off-duty lunch hours. So they will not be responding to emails, including me, during that time. So you have from 8 until 4, generally speaking, and then 11 to 1 is when teachers won't be responding to emails necessarily. And then there's also another hour and a half chunk of time in that 8 to 4 minus the 11 to 1 time where we'll be planning and grading and probably won't be as responsive. The other 3 hour-and-a-half blocks of time, you should be able to get in touch with us. As far as Google Meet is, I haven't really worked a whole lot with it, so I'll be working on getting more familiarity with that this week. I don't anticipate a whole lot of Google Meet meetings. I'd like to at least touch base with you all at least once during that first week of April 6th by class period. And then I'll be putting in that Google Meet class code out into your specific Google Classroom. It is not required. I'm just touching base with you, trying to answer any questions that you may have, and then just see how you're doing. That's all. So after that, we'll take it on an as needed basis. If we do still need to continue meeting, if we're meeting on an A-Day, B-Day basis, I haven't really figured it out yet. We're all kind of figuring it out. So that's kind of the wrap up for this week, what I know so far. And I hope everyone is staying healthy and safe. And I will talk to you soon.